Hey everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life, episode 35. My name is Russell Frost. I am your pilot for today's mission. My co-pilot with me here today, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello everybody. Is it still cold out there? What an understatement that is.
What is it in your neighborhood, Mark?
We're sitting at about minus 15 Celsius.
That's just about -1.
That's about there. It's dipped down with the wind chill to minus 30. So we are
don't
hoping
go outside naked.
No, stay inside. Stay inside.
You say it's minus 15, but really it's something like 236 something. Kelvin, yeah.
Kelvin.
See, there's always a silver.
Yeah, there's always something worse or better depending on what scale you're using. Yes, indeed. And there's Russell with the cell phone.
I'm just doing the rest of the show like
just trying to show us that there's no wind chill in effect.
Like this, then how does that work? I'll just do the rest of the show like that.
Hey, that's why I pay rent in San Diego. Yep. Right there, I get flipped off from Missouri and -5.
Exactly.
It's fine. No, and all my friends in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I resided until recently, they are dying in the cyclone bomb polar vortex.
What the hell is that thing?
Man.
Creeping Bond villain is done to that part of the country. But
we need some good old-fashioned global warming is what we need.
It of course doesn't exist because it's cold out. Before we go deeper down that rat hole, let's talk about the man from Chicago, the warmest place in the United States, I'm sure today, Mr.
It got up to almost 19 degrees. It was 18 point more than 5. Yeah, I know. It was to the point. I was like, do I really need a coat?
Not that you were counting.
Good thing I'm not wearing pants.
Well, yeah. So of all the stupid shit, since we've already lost our explicit rating, so I drove to Southern Indiana, where I'm from, to spend the holidays, spend Christmas, New Year's with family. And on the drive back, it was so cold. It was 2 degrees when I left Southern Indiana. As I was driving, it was so cold the battery wasn't kicking in as often as it normally would have during the summer. So I ended up consuming almost a full tank of gas. I stopped to get gas, and again, it was so freaking cold. The stupid shutoff on the gas pump wasn't working, and gas spilled out of my tank.
Oh!
This is why I hate getting gas. One of many. So now here it was, like 2 degrees. I gas on the side of my car. So I reach for the windshield squeegee, which of course is now just slush.
At best.
So yeah, so I'm wiping slush on the side of an already dirty car to get rid of the gas. So it was 19 today, and I could take it to a car wash, and I'm so happy that I was able to get that gasoline shit, that dead dinosaur off of my car.
The dinosaurs are bad. I'm not really.
No, the dinosaurs were awesome. I'm sure that these were very happy vegetarian dinosaurs, but still, they have no business on the side of my car. Or in my car, for that matter. But, you know.
Well, speaking of no business on the side of your car, let's introduce our last panelist today, Mr. Doctor. Uh-oh, what's that? Wait, I can't see.
What? Oh, see this?
No.
Sure, people were familiar with this feature that Tesla offers, where you can turn on the heat in your car remotely, and it now pre-warms your battery as well if you use that feature when it's particularly cold. So the car drives at peak efficiency if you warm it up long enough. So just point that out.
So it's 69 degrees in Mrs. Evans' Model X.
No, that's mine. That's
that's yours. I'm sorry. It looked like. Oh,
no, that's an S, and then they've added this feature too. I don't know if I can do it looking. Is that the X? No, that's a yes.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. There's the X. So you can now swipe to change. I'm getting a weird click.
Okay.
Yeah, when you have a stable of cars, you could just swipe between them.
Swipe between them.
Don't go messing with your wife's car because she'll pick you out, man.
So no, we're doing well from the land of where a panel has proposed a 10-cent per gallon increase in gas cost. So we'll see how that goes over, but it made me smile.
I say you protest and demand 30 cents.
Very, very nice. Well, Mark Coughlin has graciously and it worked very hard to get a guest for tonight, and the guest ran into a couple of problems. We're hoping to have said guest join us at some point. So just to keep you aware, you know, if a new face pops up, we're going to introduce him and start talking about that. Until then, we're going to go ahead with that boring feature we call the regular news. I actually don't call it that, do we? I want to show this because this is kind of fun. This is from our friend Alex Roy of Cannonball Run fame. This is his first little teaser of why Alex has been dropping so many seemingly well-informed comments about the Model 3 in the last week. And as it turns out, Alex and the brand new owner, and oh gosh, Daniel Zorilla. Him and Daniel were doing a reverse cannonball run in his brand new Model 3, just to see if it could done. They set a Model 3 record, I guess.
Actually, an EV record.
It's a new electric cannonball run. 50 hours, 16 minutes, 32 seconds, 2,860 miles for a total charging cost of $100.95. I guess that's just, I mean, it's on the supercharger, right? So we're just kind of booting that up and saying this is what it would have cost, which
no, that's what they paid. Remember, the Model 3 you have to pay for charge.
Oh,
yeah, there's no free supercharging at all. So, they had to pay some.
Cheaper than an airline.
Yeah, actually, I'm teasing our next story, but Zoo, who's doing the other kind of cross-country trip, posted a map of where the Tesla chargers, some Tesla chargers charge by the minute, and some of them charge by the kilowatt, which is really interesting. That there's a difference, but some states, if you sell by the kilowatt, it's you're like a energy distributor or something, and they have laws that prevent Tesla from being able to resell electricity. So they're basically charging them for their time on the charger instead of charging them for the electricity.
Nice.
So that map, is that their actual stops? Do you know?
I believe that is. Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive because, like if you go down the ones I'm familiar with, so on Missouri, the two stops there, the first stop to the west on Missouri is Joplin, and then the next one is Rolla, and so they skipped Springfield. On that run.
This is Joplin.
No, the west. Yeah, west. Yeah, that's Joplin.
And then the next one to the east is
Rolla.
Okay.
And so Springfield is right in between there, and it's about 70 miles from Joplin to Springfield, and about another 110. I'd have to pull up Google Maps to get exactly to Rolla. So they're doing a solid 170 miles or more, maybe 180 between stops. And it sounds like going at a fairly decent clip to get there. And then they managed to go, it looks like the run, I'm not even sure what that one is in Illinois. Probably, was it Bell?
No idea. Yeah, I
forget what it is, but so they skipped St. Louis too. So they went from Rolla another 100 plus miles through St. Louis, and that looks like it has to be over 100 miles to the next stop. So
to the other side of Illinois.
Yeah, so that's some pretty impressive runs that they were pushing. If that's their true charging stop map.
Right, and I'm going to guess that the cruise control was set at 90 miles an hour. Is that the 90 max? Because they're doing 88 right now.
Seriously
taken. So that's 90, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just checking.
That's dang efficient, man.
Yeah. Well, Alex is good with that, and obviously knows where the sweet spot is, right?
Right. And so if you look down also on that pictures, I mean, this is juicy to me. So the last 23 miles since their last charge, if they've really been going 88 or 90 miles, 304 watt hours per mile. Just to give a little frame of reference, my Model S, and over its lifetime, I've averaged 304 watt hours per mile, and I guarantee I haven't averaged 90 miles per hour. And that's including warm weather drives, which really drop it down to where it's more efficient. Whereas like right now, I average about 350 or so watt hours per mile in this wintry weather. So that's extremely impressive for that speed in these weather conditions. I mean, it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit on the top right there. It says, so it's quite cold. That's really impressive.
Well, it looks like.
If I can interrupt real quick, sorry, but I just looked it up. That was the Effingham, Illinois supercharger.
Effingham, that's right. Okay, I've been there.
Effingham. Well, and he's either coming out of or going into. It says I-40 Flagstaff, which is super mountainous. Now, maybe he's taking the benefit of coming down the hill. Maybe he's going up the hill. We're not sure exactly which side he's on here, but certainly not a place that, going up in those mountains in northern Arizona, not a good place to conserve electricity. Yeah. So,
did you guys watch the video?
I did not.
They recorded the whole thing in video, and you can go in the article, which we'll link to, and you can watch the entire video in real time. No, I'm just kidding. They speed it up.
Hang on. So, all right. Golly, this is awesome.
Would you stop with that?
Get his geek on.
Okay. So here's what I think. The stops that you're looking at, those are the planned stops that the nav is saying, and the car is actually physically in Flagstaff, according to the bottom of the map there,
or near about.
Time. So, and he's only got 1,000 miles on the odometer at that point. So they started in L.A.
Well, did he? I think he.
Yes. Redondo Beach.
Well, it was where they started, but where did the car come from? Did he go up?
He got it in Fremont.
Right. So he had to drive it from Fremont to L.A.
Yep.
Wow.
There's 400 or 500 miles.
Yeah, and so he's showing and look at his battery charge up there by the speed. So it's at what, 60%, and it's saying he's got 188 miles of range still left. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's almost unbelievable, isn't it? Because they're not selling long range. Are these all? Wait,
yeah, they're selling long range.
No, wait. Where are you seeing 60%?
Well, it doesn't have a number, but if you look at the battery diagram,
so you just kind of guess.
Yeah, it's roughly 60%. So you even call it 70% if you want. I mean, it's still that's pretty impressive.
Oops. Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy 64 degree.
What's that? 30 degrees, right?
Yeah, 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's really wow. Wow, I got to get in one of these.
Yeah, you know what? And it is pretty cool how the whole thing is planned out, and over on the right side you can see all of the trips, all the stops planned out.
So it's the 64 you're looking at there. That's the temperature that the car's set at inside temp, and they're using the seat heaters. So they're trying. It looks like they're driving fairly efficiently. I assume there's a range mode on the Model 3 like there is on the S. But still,
it is. Looking at the map on the big screen, I feel that it is. For the sake of authenticity and accuracy, it's important to put Cuba and the Dominican Republic on the map. If you decide to do a destination charge.
Well, as good as the nav system is in the Tesla, it may actually try to drive you there.
It goes into James Bond mode, you think?
I don't think that would be a good nav system that would try to drive you to Cuba. I want a nav system that stops where the land ends. Crazy like that. Well, let's move on. I guess Mark has a follow-up.
Kind of a follow-up, as Evan mentioned. There's another gentleman that's making his way across North America over the past few days, and that is Yo-Yo Zoo. His name is spelled Y-O-U, but I understand it's pronounced Yo-Yo. So
okay.
He is traveling across the country in his Model X with a co-pilot, maybe 2 co-pilots, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And they've made their way from California across the southern U.S. towards Dallas, cut down towards New Orleans, and then over into Florida, up the East Coast. And there's a Florida picture right there. But he goes a little bit further up the coast on the East Coast. He's done Atlanta and Greenville, Raleigh, and into Virginia, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, now through Vermont, and now he's in Montreal. Went up to Quebec City and now coming down the Trans-Canada Highway, and he's in Montreal overnight. And he'll be coming through Ontario tomorrow, and then back into Michigan through the upper U.S., a little bit of a dip down, then up towards Oregon, and down the coast to Los Angeles again. So talk about a run. It's tough to believe that someone is taking this type of a run so quickly with a brand new car. Obviously they've got some confidence in it, but man, that is a long trip to take just to, just keep looping around North America. I can't imagine doing something like that.
Yeah, well, and if you click around there on that page, he's got each anticipated stop listed on there as an event, a Facebook event that you can sign up for to be interested or that you're going. And then there in his files, there are links to several different Google documents that show his planned route and some things. But you can also request to test drive his car. And when he comes to whatever stop that you're going to, and I don't know if he does it first come first serve or whoever offers to pay the most. I bid $20 to give his car a test ride when he comes through Columbia on Saturday. But it's he's been it's been really good. He's been very honest about the deficiencies of the vehicle. He's been very honest about the positive things about the vehicle. He's been really open and communicative with everybody, kind of amazingly so, considering the long drive that they're on, and answering questions and doing their best to try to keep people up to speed. So I think a lot of us have truly enjoyed that ability to watch his trip and see what's going on.
So exactly. I'm sharing my screen here with the January 5th Chicago meet and greet. Which, of course, I would be extremely interested in going to, except that I only have 2 days' notice, and it is going to be somewhere between -2 and 12 degrees.
So a nice day.
Yes, in Chicago, early January.
Complaining about?
Because if you're going to plan an outdoor public event, although it does say where it's going to be is at the Tesla.
Oh, is it the Tesla store?
Yeah, yeah. He is either doing them at typically supercharge stations or Tesla stores. So there's a place, it's not a Tesla sanctioned event, but Tesla seems to be helping out, as we've seen through the trip already. They've helped them out with a couple of car washes. They've helped him out with a service on the side of the road when he needed someone to reboot something. Yep. So there's been a few things that have happened, and Tesla is certainly watching this, and it appears they're helping him out here and there.
Yeah, they've even sent some over-the-air software updates that appear to have been triggered by his events. And actually, just 2 minutes ago, he just posted another video of the touchscreen being glitchy and not acting upright that you can log on and look. So it's pretty fascinating to watch his trip.
Yeah, so you can follow him on Facebook. And we've got our special guest has joined.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hello, Dennis. How are you?
I'm all right. How's it going, Mark? Long time no see.
Yes, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
Dennis, just we're just partway through a news story, but we'll skip into your walkthrough. We just Russell is hosting the show today. He's the guy with the big boom mic.
Hey, Russell. I think I watched you guys' show. Didn't you guys have Ed Niedermeyer on
Indeed, yes.
a while back?
Yes.
Yeah, so I remember watching that. Since Ed's a buddy, even though we tend to have differing views on Tesla.
that seems to be a very common theme of people like his personality and hate his position.
I wouldn't say hate. I mean, look, without critics, these guys aren't going to improve. I mean, you can't have rose-colored glasses every time when you look at Tesla. And I mean, everything. Look, because we have a Roadster, an S, and now a 3, and we've got 3 Powerwalls, right? So we're all in,
right?
But there's a lot of things that Tesla can still improve on.
Absolutely,
no question.
So, Dennis, you've picked up a Model 3 recently, within the past week, correct?
Yep. We picked it up on the 30th. It was originally scheduled for the 29th. Typical Tesla time. Again, I scheduled a meetup with members of the OC Club, which I help organize for Saturday.
Is that Orange County?
Orange County, Orange County, California.
Okay.
So we were going to have our members check out the car and I got the approval from the boss to let people drive it. So we had people drive the car, ride in the car, and overall see it. There were several other members of the club that brought their 3s as well. There was a silver one from Gabrielle and Kobe, and then a red one, which was Jameson Dow, I guess, an Electric. His father's car, which is what he used for his article, was at the location as well.
Right.
And they basically had their cars there so people could see it. And I was just constantly driving around. I budgeted 3 hours, and I told my wife 3 hours. She's fine with that. It ended up being New Year's Eve that we did this at, since everything got pushed back. So we had 80 people RSVP. When I changed the date, about 10 dropped off and 15 more RSVP'd on. So wow. I guess Tesla folks don't have anything to do on the 31st of December. This is the 3rd year that we've had a meetup on the 31st for various reasons. 3 years ago, we had a meetup because a buddy of ours was taking number 15X, and he was going to show people off the car. So I figured since we had ours, it was payback for everybody else to see that.
Right.
And then last year, it's just because our club founder was in town. He lives overseas now. So when he's in town, we try to say hi and to thank him for getting everything started. He's not in a country where it makes sense to have a Tesla, so he lives vicariously through that which he created. But yeah, so originally our scheduled date was the 29th. I get a call at 7 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night, somewhere there on the 28th, saying your car won't be in Marina Del Rey until the evening of the 29th, when we were scheduled to be there in the afternoon. So we scrambled to say what's as soon as you can get it. We agreed on a time, and they made the revised date. So they're on time based on longtime Tesla owners' viewpoints, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And Evan, you know this. You've had a car for quite a while.
Yeah, I've had my Model S for over 5 years and waited about 4 years for that. But even the X had delay after delay and silence, and then delays, and then finally.
Exactly, and then hurry up and configure because we need to close to the end of the year.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, nice.
And I mean, you're motivated to do that for the end of the year as well because, hey, look at that guy. It looks like I was a little thinner when we picked up the S in the photo.
Now you picked it up in Marina Del Rey. What was that pickup center like? It looks rather large in the photographs that you supplied.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Robert Rosenblum was tweeting to me and thinking that people said it was 80 cars an hour. I think they probably do 100 an hour there. It's just they don't have the space for people to be out there though. If you want more, if you follow my Flickr account, I think I had more of the pictures on there. If you ever want to see it. Oh. But yeah, so they have about 80 is what they were estimating. I'd say that's a good estimate. There's a ton of cars on there S's and X's as well, which I would think are probably higher margin. So they were trying to push all those out. The first thing that happens when you drive up, it's only valet. So the first question they ask you, which is kind of rude, is, are you here to trade in your car? And my wife was not very amused by that. She said, bite your tongue. We drove up in the S because, you got to go electric to go electric. So we did that. And they say to budget an hour, but I got to tell you, the person we had was very patient. It's such a contrast to our experience when we picked up our S. So in 2013, we picked up our S. We did a factory tour. We went after the factory tour. We went to go pick up the car, and we had a guy that was helping us, if you could call it that. Basically, like a lot of folks back then, right? This was before Nick Howell printed out his book for owning a Tesla Model S. It was just a series of posts on TMC. So I have, instead of with all the questions that were on those posts, I actually printed out a paper. So those of you that are really ecos, sue me. Sorry about that, but I had to turn in a paper so I can go through it. I had the thing all printed out, getting ready to ask the guy questions, and the delivery guy for the S was like, "No, I don't have time for that," and basically took our money, took our signatures, and left. So for the Model 3, the experience was different, right? So for the Model 3, we show up, we say budget an hour. We had a few issues with paperwork. They took care of that. And we were there for about an hour and a half, I'd say. And the person was very, very patient. I made sure to give her credit to her boss or whoever the management was on the site. You got to give kudos when people provide excellent service. And I think the lady's name was Josie. I didn't catch her last name, but she was awesome. And I gave kudos, made sure that her boss got that. So it was a great experience. I mean, I took photos. I don't know if you got. I tweeted a bunch of them, right? So yep. There's a coffee bar inside. You walk in. First, the valet asks you if you're here to trade in your car. Then you walk through the entryway, and there's people greeting you. They ask for your appointment. They match your name, and then they assign you a person to go with you. Then it's like a club atmosphere. It's like I don't know how many of you guys have been to any of the Tesla events, but yeah, this kind of has that club atmosphere, but there's no booming music. So yeah, so there's a coffee bar there.
Wow.
You go get coffee.
Tesla coffee.
Yeah, the coffee is interesting. I don't know if you got the shot that we had that shows the name of the coffee, right? Supercharger. So
yep.
It was awesome. The coffee was very good. The barista was a little unmotivated, but that's fine. The coffee was good, so that's all I cared about. So at each one of the stations, they'll have your name on it. That basically says, you have a table set up for you, where basically it's a little table like you would find in a bar or a club, where you're just sitting there and the like. So
is that where the whole the paperwork and everything took place?
Yeah. So what you do there is you go through the paperwork. They print out that which you've already e-signed, right? The MVPA, which is what you need to get the loan. We went to review it. One of the things that's frustrating to me, and typical Tesla, the guys don't do anything until it's finally time to sign. We had some things, small nits that we wanted them to do that they were gonna put aside for us, and they didn't do it on the paperwork. And I told them, "Hey, where is it?" And they're like, "No, we don't. It'll be fine when you get there." So when they got there, everything that I pointed out on the paperwork wasn't reflected on it, right? So. Jeez. So they had to go fix that, which was fine. I mean, I'll enjoy this. I was able to get more shots, right?
Get more coffee.
Yeah, get more coffee. And my wife thought it was just one of the typical Tesla service station things or Tesla supercharger lounges or Hawthorne or whatever. There's a machine, you put it in, and I said, no, it's a barista. So she's like, oh, well, shit, I'll go get some at this point. Yeah, so yeah, it was a good experience.
So did you find the experience better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, and did you also find that were there many people in there at the same time as you?
Yes, you can see from you had an overview shot. a lot of the tables around me were still empty when we got there. We kind of came earlier, but you know, they filled up when we're leaving. So I think a lot of them came in maybe late or something, but they were all set up ready for them. But it wasn't full, right? It wasn't like a Tesla party where you're basically the food runs out before you know, you get the main event, and that sort of thing. It was well attended, but it wasn't overfilling. I think it's got probably to do more along the lines of what they've gotten down to the service to the delivery center than they had of people wanting to pick up the cars. Obviously, right? I mean, the numbers came out today, right? There were 1,500 delivered and 800 something that are
In transit.
that are in transit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I lucked out, got it before the end of the year, so I get to apply that credit to this year's taxes or last year's taxes. So that's good.
Nice.
Hey, can I ask you? Can I ask you about the picture in the trunk? It looked like there were
The charging cables.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's the UMC, the second gen UMC. So if you switch to that,
Russell was bringing up that photo
on the Flickr page.
yeah.
Give me a sec. I'll get you right back there.
If you zoom out, you can see it. It's like I said, I dumped a bunch of photos.
Fourth row down on the Flickr page.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. This is why we don't have a production staff.
You get what you pay for, guys.
There we go.
All right, so that's the new UMC, right? So that's limited to 32 amps because of you Canadians. Oh wait, no, did I say that out loud? No, I don't know why it's probably limited because at the end of the day, the cables that Tesla provides are so thin, you can't really run 40 amps on them. But I haven't. That's one thing I have on my list to test is to test charging the Model 3 with a Model S charger, right? With Model S UMC, it's not really a charger. So it comes with the same connectors. You've got the NEMA 1450, and it's got the standard 110, and then the J1772. Now, what they learned from the Leaf in this bag is it's got Velcro on it. So you can do that Leaf thing where you put the stuff in the bag and then you slap it on the side of the car. Yeah. And it stays put, right? I mean, until the Velcro wears out, but right now it's working great. Underneath that is an under trunk. So right now I just have I have the CHAdeMO adapter on there that unfortunately doesn't seem to work. I've gone to 2 CHAdeMO stations that are known good with my Model S, and they didn't work with the Model 3. Now,
are you in that thread on Tesla Motors, Dennis?
Yeah, I updated that thread, so I'm on that post, right?
Yeah.
So basically,
at least 3 people now, I think, have confirmed that they've been unable to charge with CHAdeMO right now.
Yeah, exactly. But those other guys had a message on their dash that it's not supported. I got nothing. Weird. I mean, I just plugged in.
Oh.
So my experience was different. Now, full disclosure, I now work full-time in the clean tech industry, and my opinions I provide in this podcast are those of my own. But, as far as DC fast charging, I'm actually in charge of the Americas for a company called Tritium for their operations. So Tritium builds the VFill DC fast charger, which are the ones that ChargePoint has deployed across North America.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So one of the stations I stopped off at was a VFill at near my home that I'm able to call my tech in Australia to take a look at a session, and they're debugging it and looking at it. But this was before I found out that it seems to be the car and not the charger. So, so I have looked into it further. But as soon as it's up, then we can use my car to go test it in places. But
so is it the UMC that's limited to 32 amps, or is it the onboard charger?
It's the UMC.
Okay.
Because it's the UMC because the onboard charger is rated to 48.
It is okay.
Max of 48. Which is an interesting, frustrating number. I mean, it's like you get an HPWC, it's like, okay, 48, really?
Yeah.
I have 56 for my Tesla HPWC at home because I only pulled a 70 amp wire there. The cost to pull 100 amps was just astronomical at the time, and I'm like, you know what, I can run through a supercharger worst case scenario.
So what does that give you on a miles per hour on the S at the full 48?
36, I think.
Okay.
36 or 38, somewhere there.
And you're getting what on a full charge on the did I say S on the 3?
I haven't plugged the 3 yet. So you guys, Mark sends me the note. Get on the show soon after. Yeah, so I can tell you ride quality. I mean, it's a funny thing is today my wife and I carpooled and she dropped me off in the S, and so the 3's at home just waiting. But the one thing that I do miss driving the 3 versus the S is the air suspension. It rides stiff, right, which is great, but I don't expect that in the form factor of the car. I mean, that's the same sort of thing that we have on the Roadster, which is a great drive. You feel all the bumps in the road, but you're psychologically prepared to do that when you're in the Roadster.
Right.
When you're in a sedan, I expect it to be more comfortable. And, unfortunately, all my padding went to my gut and didn't go into my ass.
Story I really. Yeah.
So the coil spring obviously a lot stiffer than the air suspension, and you feel more of the road as you're going across it.
Exactly, which is kind of strange because when we were configuring our S, it was important for me to try out this coil versus the air, and I really couldn't tell the difference. And I just got the air because it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And now I can't live without the air because, like for example, my mother's driveway I got to jack it up to get through, otherwise I'd scrape on the S.
Yeah.
She does fine on her Leaf and her minivan, and we don't dare try it with a Roadster. So that's how bad her driveway is.
So now word on the street is the 3 handles better as far as cornering curbs and things than yes. Is that your experience as well?
It's zippy fun. But at the end of the day, I'm more of the, I lived EV starting with an Active E, so I'm used to driving. My driving style changed having 2 years driving a 100-mile range car that had no fast charging. So I'm not nearly as aggressive or an asshole as the driver as I used to be. So.
What other differences, or let's go with positives? What positives things have you seen difference between the 3 and the S as you've only had it a few days?
Yeah, so the autopilot is great, but it's coming from a guy that doesn't have an autopilot car. I always said Auto was driving when I'm in the passenger seat, and I call my wife Auto, or she calls me Auto.
The old airplane movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's clean. It's well. The panel gaps. Going back to our good friend Ed. There's not much panel gaps. I mean, it's pretty even. It's pretty clean. I've got a really detail-oriented friend who noticed that the right side had some things to it, but you know what? I didn't notice it. Then again, I've been living with panel gaps in my ass forever, so so that was good. Let's see. I like coat hooks. I mean, the funny thing that people point out. The vanity mirror, the lighted vanity mirror. When I had to check my makeup.
Hey, Dennis, I'm just curious, which audio system did you opt for?
Oh, there was an option for the 3?
Yeah.
No, it's fully loaded when you get it.
I thought
when you get it first. For only thing you can choose are color and wheels.
Excuse me. So they all have the upgraded audio system.
Exactly, and that does sound much better than the S.
Yeah,
I have the standard S.
That was my experience as well. I don't own either, but I've sat and listened to both, and I was blown away by the 3.
Huh.
Yeah, no, the sound system is awesome. I mean, plus it's a better size for it, right? You're really in there. The air conditioning is awesome. That's the thing about the S, the 3.
Right.
Right. Until now, all the Teslas have crappy AC, right? The 3 gets it right. I mean, that's one of the things. Fine, if that means moving, so I don't have the displayed in front of me so I can get great air, okay, I'll live that way.
Yeah, so that single blade across the dash is a big departure from the vent system of the old. This is something that gives you a lot more air, like faster, or is it more? Is it windier, or what makes it better?
It's more focused. And what's great about it is, it's one of those things that you can figure right at the start. It was one of the first lessons that she taught me at the delivery Josie did, and it's basically like you use a touchpad and you focus it in to where you want it, and then when it gets there, it's perfect. I mean, it just the flow is exactly what it needs to be. And when I hardly ever use auto on my S because it's not that great. I mean, I have to crank it up or lower it myself. I mean, it's kind of kludgy that way. But on the 3, I put it on auto and it is working fine. I mean, so that's great. The defroster works really good as well. So, I mean, those things are going well. But that could be a function of age. I mean, my S has 94,000 miles, right? So.
Now, where are you that you're using the defroster?
In the morning. In the morning, I get into work at really early in the morning. So sometimes the car's outside. Actually, the 3's been in the garage this whole time. The S has been outside. I guess in the evening. I mean, I'm in a startup type life, so I'm usually here till late, and it's been misty in Southern California. So there's what I'm doing is it's water vapor, not anything that you guys have to deal with.
Yeah, we have water vapor too. It's just,
it's frozen water vapor is the problem.
Not in the Midwest or in Canada. So, look, I was complaining about how cold it was. It was 60 and 65 at noon. So,
I liked you right up to that point.
That's usually the case. Well, that's a challenge too, right? I mean, these cars have to make it from here to other weather, right? The guys in Norway will be probably one of the first ones to really test it out, right? You guys in Canada will test it out. I mean, those are the guys in the Midwest will test it out. As far as how it handles cold. Though it sounds like Alex Roy, when I was following him throughout his tweets over the weekend when he was doing that Cannonball Run. Was complaining about the heat in the car, and I'm like, well, look, it's designed in California, so I wouldn't expect the heating to be that great.
That's going to be something because we were talking about that. We were also talking about Yo-Yo Zoo, who's going across the country, and he's now in Montreal and is experiencing cold for the first time. He seems to be someone that's native to California, so he's getting a rude awakening as to what we're facing.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting to see is will the car actually be able to keep up with that type of weather? Because of course, people like myself and others here in Southern Ontario and Quebec those are the questions that are going through our heads. Is can a California company produce a car that's going to be able to keep us warm in the 3 months of the year that get crazy cold here?
There's a Ontario Tesla club. They have S's and X's. They seem to be fine with what that is, and the glass is and they've got more area to have to warm up, right?
Yep.
And you've got the guys in Norway that do the same sort of thing.
Right, that's what I was going to say. One of their biggest audiences is the Norwegians, and
Mark, I don't think you have to worry about it that much in Canada there, because isn't it? I think by law, every car sold in Canada has to have a block engine heater, so you would just plug that in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you look on the other end of the plug, it goes nowhere.
Plug that thing in,
it lights up some Christmas lights inside the frunk, and that's it.
A couple wire nuts taped to the inside of the frunk. Yeah.
So Dennis, anything that you're concerned about after a few days?
Well, like I said, I took the delivery on Saturday, drove it Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Today's Wednesday. Yeah. So yesterday as well, and then today is the only day that I haven't driven it yet. No, I mean, like I said, the build quality is it's there was a tweet that came out from Bloomberg. Dana Hull sent a tweet out regarding the first take on Tesla orders and the hit on the stock. And I mean, I'm a buyer. I mean, of the stock, right? If it dips any further because people are saying, oh, they only delivered so much, great. All that means is they're prepping up. I mean, the Tesla strategy of selling to existing owners and existing multiple owners, because I think that's how they're coming up with priorities in terms of that. Because the folks that I know that have gotten theirs delivered are, if they're not employees, are multiple owners. Are folks that will be very forgiving based on what it is. So treat the opinion as you will, but at the same time, for the price point that the car is at its more basic levels, which is probably what we have two reservations, right? So we finalized on the 28th for the one we picked up on the 30th, and then we got an invitation to finalize our second one a few weeks later, and we pushed that back because my wife wants all-wheel drive. And being a Roadster driver, she's used to 170 miles to 220 if we need to range charge it now, because it's almost a 10-year-old battery, right? It's a 2008 number 40, right? So it's a SIG, and so for that age, the battery's already degraded. You're used to that, so we're used to having to see some of these things. Really, what I'm worried about is when it's people like my mom's going to be making that decision, and I'm heartened by the time that the person took to train me, considering I knew a lot. And if my mom asks for 2 hours, I mean, frankly, I'm telling her to buy a Bolt because I don't want to just give her tech support. The one thing I hate about Tesla is the fact that they keep changing the freaking UI, and that could blow other people's minds out, right? But no, I mean, I think it's a great car. I think they've done well. If it dips below 300, I seriously consider buying more stock. But I think they'll do well. But once again, I guess I am long Tesla. So just to have full disclosures.
Yeah.
Any interest in Model Y or a truck?
Well, I was just kidding because I have a photo. I don't know if you guys saw that in the Flickr with all three cars. So there's a thread on TMC that's like the trifecta's complete, which was back when the Model X was first launched. I think one of the Chad S. I think started the thread, and I was waiting for this to come in so I can put my trifecta there. But I only have a 2-car garage, so one car has to be outside, and the Roadster always stays in. So someone was telling me, oh, you need to figure out a way to carry it or whatever. So I said, well, maybe we'll pick up a semi, put them in there, and do that.
Use it as storage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. You can have a custom trailer made, with like a thing in it. I have to admit, I am curious. Like you're keeping the Roadster because
emotional value, and it's my wife's car.
Oh, okay. So
I don't speak for ownership of the Roadster, so it's a fun car. Really, at the end of the day, the reason we're looking at the 3 is at the more basic model, the 3 is at almost the same price as the battery upgrade for the Roadster.
Right.
Wow.
So we're keeping the battery as it is, letting it age. If it ends up, we're going to need to make that decision. We'll postpone that decision. The 3 that we picked up right now, it's because I like it and wanted it. I don't know if I want to get rid of the S because it's got the unlimited supercharging, and it's one that we've got great memories. That's the car we took from Southern California to Maine and back in 2015. So
nice. So
back then there was only one route going across, so it was awesome. I mean, I met a lot of good friends with that car, and as long as it stays well, it's well taken care of, and there's not much maintenance on it. So I'll pay for annual maintenance. It will be out of warranty, like Evan's car, I guess, is because the label underneath his name. In 6,000 miles, because we paid for the extended warranty, right? We always seem to hit warranties on miles rather than on time.
Yeah.
Do you think at any point, David pointed out in the chat room here that there weren't many Roadsters made. What do you think the odds are that they could turn into collector's items?
That's the other side of it, but that would mean, it's like It's like I grew up as a comic book collector, but I haven't sold any comic books.
Well, hey, if Elon keeps shooting them up into space, they may become
Yeah,
one at a time.
One at a
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
That's always a consideration. But the thing I always tell people is, look, a car at the end of the day is a depreciating asset, right? There are very few people that make money on buying and selling cars. So if you look at it as what it is, then that's what it is. I mean, to me, it's also a way of living a cleaner existence. I mean, air quality. I remember growing up in Southern California when you couldn't see the mountains from a mile away. So I'm glad that I could, and I'd like to keep my lungs as clear as they can.
Right.
All good points. It's the Roadster. I don't like buying and selling most things like cars and watches as investments anyway.
Yeah.
And the idea that, you can find it like a 68 Plymouth or whatever, or a Dodge or something. And those cars were made, they were thrown away. That was way before this obsessive collecting and investing thing happened.
Yeah.
Roadster's a wholly different case, bought by a different class of people who can afford to put it in the garage, put a cover on it, and let it sit.
Well, that's how we got ours, right? We got it at a CPO. So the story to our Roadster is in 2013, we picked up the car because we were finalizing what was going to be my wife's S in August of that year. And we were spending too much time on the Tesla website. So we ended up clicking on CPO, and we were going back and forth between panel roof, non-panel roof at the time. We clicked on CPO. She looks at the Roadster and says, "Oh, that's my car." You can stop looking at leaves. You can stop looking at all these other plugins. You can get an S. We're getting that one. And I said, who am I to argue? I mean, I got an upgrade myself at that. So basically, it's her Roadster, RS, and supposedly my 3, but it's only been 5 days. So
good luck with that.
I mean, and the problem is if she has the Roadster, like if it ends up that she wants the 3 and you get the Roadster, I mean, that's kind of a raw deal. Not that the Roadster's a wonderful car, but Dennis, I'm going to make some assumptions here. And I've sat in the Roadster, and it was sort of like pushing sausage into a casing, getting me into the Roadster.
Oh yeah, no. Look, I told you my gut. You see my gut in the photo.
I'm here, so I'm like, I would not want to drive a Roadster every day. That is not a comfortable car for me. I'd much rather.
It's hell fun though. But you know what? When you're in bumper to bumper traffic on the 405, it's like we were doing that same sort of thing though. I mean, we had the S in the Roadster we went all electric in the end of summer this year. We sold our last gas car.
Wow.
And we only had that one because that one had emotional value as well. But we finally got rid of it. It was a BMW X5. And so we would trade off. Like if she needed anybody else, she would take that. And then, I'd get the Roadster, which is still a fun drive. But when you're bumper to bumper traffic, it's not the best.
You lose some of the appeal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. I've had really fun cars to drive, but I don't want to drive them for more than an hour. And then it's like,
well, and that's why you can use it for commute as well in California, so that's fine for that. So
awesome.
Excellent.
Well, I think we should probably wrap this up. Any final questions for Dennis?
No, I just want to say thanks for coming on, man. It's a lot of good information.
All right. Well, I'm glad to help. If you guys are ever down in Southern California before you guys take delivery of your 3s, if you want to come by and see it, as long as I'm driving it,
What time should I be by tomorrow?
Yeah.
I got to be in the car with you, but look, valid driver's license and your insurance.
I'm just messing with you.
Hey, Mark knows. I'll go hang out. We'll talk EVs all day, man.
Exactly. That was a great time. I just happened to be in Southern California. I put a note out, and Dennis responded and said, "Why don't you come to an EV meetup tonight?"
And the truth is, I park next to a Model 3 and a Model S a couple times a week. So you know what I mean? It's just bone your chain, my friend.
Well, yes, Dennis, thank you very much for coming on the show today on such short notice. And we maybe we'll follow up with you in the coming weeks after you get a real chance to figure out what the 3 is all about.
Yeah, no, like I told you, Mark, as long as I can fit it in, stuff going on.
Schedule-wise,
I got the door post. If something blows up at work, I got to hang up and run. But
Understood.
Hey, we do normally do anything you'd like to plug? Is there a website or something, or a group, any sort of?
Well, I mean, personally speaking, I've been on Twitter. I've got my blog. That's fine. I'm not a. I owe my readers an update on the installation to my Powerwall, which I only had the first day of. The second day's not even posted yet. I got the photos, and obviously the Model 3 delivery. I mean, it's like they can go watch my Cobb website at this point. My blog's been out of date since August, so I got to do some work. I mean, I started working in a startup, soon out, right around the same time. So, so if anybody needs me, I'm easy to reach on Twitter or on TMC, Model 3 Owners Club, Speak EV, and the Teslarati forum. I help moderate some of those places. So yeah.
Cool. Very good. Yeah, I would love to chat with you about Powerwall. So maybe we'll have. If you would love to come on again, I would love to have you.
Yeah, I can talk Powerwalls, but right now we're in the middle of them still installing my Powerwall.
Really?
So I'm not trying to put all my opinions out there because I'm the opposite type. Look, I try to work it out nice with folks, right? We'll get somewhere where we need to go. I'm not the type to rattle anything and raise hell if I don't have to. I mean, if I have to raise my voice, then we're in trouble. But we're doing good.
Yeah, and just to clarify, you're putting in 1 Powerwall or 2?
I have 3.
3.
Say
okay.
House and SoCal? Yeah, 3.
No, we have a small house. What it was I thought. I mean, here's the challenge, right? Tesla. I went to the Powerwall event when it was Powerwall 1. Got on the list. Never got a call from them. I get on the event for Powerwall 2. All right, they were collecting money at the event, so I put money down. Great. On both those events, Elon had talked about the use case of solar, but he also talked about time shifting, right? You could time shift the thing. I can use my energy whenever. So I'm like looking at, all right, I did my math. I'm like, time of use. My best time to charge a sucker is overnight, the same time I charge my car. Best time for me to use it is during the day when I'm producing, so I can sell all my energy back. I mean, I don't have to sell the stuff that's I'm not going to do arbitrage with the battery and sell it out to the utility at that point. I just want to sell what I'm producing, right? And consume what I've already charged up.
Yeah.
Sucker can't do that right now. It's really frustrating. And that's kind of where it's stuck. And if you look at the threads on TMC and other places, people have brought up the same things. I mean, I'm like, I keep hearing, it's coming. It's a software update. It's on Tesla time. It depends on what's more important. And same thing. The same folks that are focused on that. You've got the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, and they're helping those folks out. They had the thing in South Australia where they had to build that new battery thing. So I mean, those same people in that organization are probably working on that. And hey, if they can get it done soon, great. But in the meantime, I'm mid installation. It's not complete.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about that. I hope it goes better soon.
Yeah. Well, look, first world problems. I'm it's the start of the new year. I'm thankful for all the good things that's happened, and I'm glad to be able to help where I can and share the information.
Absolutely. But it may be a first world problem, but it's still your problem. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean you don't deserve to have that addressed. Let's do some other shout outs and go home. Evan, can I go to you, sir?
Yeah, I don't mean.
Why do I even bother?
I don't know.
Come on. Did you really just go? I'm
one of these. I'm gonna make up a fake web page or something someday. And
Evan, what's your referral code?
I don't know.
Jeez, giving up so easy.
Just message me. If you want it, I'll give it to you. Look, I'm just.
Connor has no problem popping off with that referral code. Okay, that's why he's going to get a free Roadster.
He probably will.
Please, for the love of God, help me.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat room. Of course, it looks like it's possible that Matt has already stepped out to meet up with Yo-Yo there.
In Montreal.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny because he popped in and said, "Hey guys, I'm going to see I'm going to see him possibly drive a Model 3. We started talking about Yo-Yo, and he said, yeah, that's who I'm going to meet with. He's just southeast of Montreal right now.
Oh, very nice.
So there you go. Yeah, also shout out to David, and who else? We got Kenny in there, and John, and some dork Tony, and David said his Powerwall 2 just got a firmware update, so maybe they're working on that. Yeah,
that'd be beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. Well, thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Mr. Coughlin, bring it home, please.
Yes, just for everyone out there, please follow us on our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life. You can also see us for developments on our Facebook, The Tesla Life #1. And of course, if you're watching this program, please subscribe so you get notified about show starts automatically in the future. And we will see you throughout the future broadcasts as well. And just as a side note, Yo-Yo, who's coming from Montreal, will be coming through my area of town sometime tomorrow evening, and I'm hoping to go out and meet him and say hello and take some photos as well. So if you're on the Twitter feed, you can see that happening basically live. So
yeah, that's good. Curtis asked if you were going to be showing up. So excellent.
Maybe, you never know. Hey, I want to thank Dennis, who dodged a conference call, or maybe just kind of did a brush by on it and spent an hour with us. Dennis, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, great stuff.
He's still on the conference call. The headset is just sitting.
Headsets for you guys. I was not dodging anything. I took all the questions I had. Well, I got to tell you, technically speaking, I was having a hard time. I tried 3 different browsers and finally got this to work on Google. I don't know what's going on with my computer.
Yeah. Google owns everything.
Yeah,
you have to use Google.
Come to think of it, it runs well. Of course, my thanks to our amazing panel, Evan, Tony, and Mr. Coughlin.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks once again, Lee Moon, for giving us some awesome music.
I was going to remember to do it.
Is there a fade out somewhere?
I'm looking up going, I'm not going to forget Lee. I'm not going to. Thank you, Tony Schaefer, for covering. And thanks to all of you who watch and or listen to the show. Tune in next week and find out what is going on in the Tesla life. We'll see ya.